Hi, my name's Hayley Quinn and I am going to be joined on this video from New York via video clip of the Josh Speaks. Now, we were chatting when I was in America and I decided I want to do an amazing video where I was asking Josh, who specializes in confidence and the friend zone, to do a friend zone video with me. So this video is going to be split in my advice in terms of what you do and what your strategy is if you find yourself in the friend zone as a younger guy or an older guy. Now, younger guy I'm defining as under 27, so very millennial, and older guy I'm defining as over 27. Now, I'm going to be speaking to the over 27s and giving you a strategy, and I think you're going to find that how you get out of the friend zone and what the friend zone means is something that's quite different from when you're younger to older.
Hey playa, the friend zone is a term that's often used to basically say that the person you like sees you as nothing more than just that, a friend. But behind that friend label might be something far more damaging to our odds of ever being romantic with them. It's the fact that they don't see us the way that we see them. But for you, it might be hard to see why. You're young, you're eligible, and you're overall a good guy. So why don't they at least give you a chance to date them? If you're at the stage where you're bargaining with them to try to go out on a date with you, well, then I think you've already sacrificed enough pawns to the point where you're going to get checkmated. So is it even possible to get her to reevaluate her stance on you to give you a chance? Well, I think it is. But first we need to understand why you got friend zoned. When you first meet a girl, or anyone for that matter, what they're looking for instantaneously is something for you two to connect over. In that initial setting, the easiest thing to connect over is your shared experience. So for example, if you're both waiting in line at the coffee shop, or if you're both sitting in a lecture hall waiting for your professor to arrive. Casually talking to a girl in these settings will help you find something to connect with her over. It'll help her bring her guard down so that she can open up a little more to you. And that's not only for passively shared experiences, it's for actively shared experiences too. So for example, approaching a girl that's sitting in the park, or walking up to a girl that's hanging out with her friends. If you can talk to her about something relative, then it lets her see that, hey, this guy is not a creep trying to screw me over or do something weird here. He's just someone making casual conversation. And that's wonderful. There are tons of casual things you can talk about, like where you're from or what your job is, but that's where most guys stop. They rarely ever dig deeper to really understand who that girl is and to show her who you are. If you aren't willing to open up about your life experiences, to share stories, and to learn more about who she really is as a person, then things are just going to stay in that neutral safe zone. And the only way out of that neutral safe zone is to challenge her assertions about life and to open up your own assertions to be challenged too. Most guys are afraid to open up and talk about their sexual experiences, or even to go deep into what their passions are because they're afraid they might bore the girl. And if your plan is to just avoid any kind of real deep topic like that and to stick to conversations like, how was your day and do you like your job? Well, then you're going to stay in that safe zone and you're not going anywhere. Look, you're in your 20s, and your 20s are all about self-discovery and figuring out who you are, and I can imagine that the same goes for the girl that you're talking to. That's why it's so important to be open to the idea of learning and changing and growing, because if she sees that those are strong characteristics for you, then she's not going to want to friend zone you because you are the opposite of being safe. You're showing her that you're the type of person that's open to taking chances and making mistakes, and those are the kind of people that are always interesting and have insightful ways to view life. And don't get me wrong here, flirting and asking her out on a date are integral components to this piece. Otherwise, you're just a really interesting friend. But it's in lacking that strong sense of self that leaves most guys open to be friend-zoned, because they're not willing to challenge and tear down their preconceived notions of life. Don't aim to be that casual friend who just simply validates the things that she says because you don't really want to rock the boat with a deeper discussion about who you are. And as for escaping the friend zone, that simply comes down to reframing who you are so that the girl can see you in a totally different light. My honest suggestion here is, if you're a guy that is constantly getting friend-zoned, take time away from those girls that are friend-zoning you and spend that time sorting yourself out. Spend a good amount of time reading and learning and interacting with people, not just girls, but with anyone you can, so that you can be a more well-versed person. And as you interact with and experience the world around you, take that knowledge into your conversations with those girls so that they can see that you're willing to challenge your own status quo. Every girl is different though. For some, it may take weeks or months or even years before you can reapproach them to show them that you are a different person than the one that they friend-zoned a while back. And that new, bold, brazen, and unguarded you that you're bringing forward to interact with her, that's the one that she's going to grow to respect and may even grow to feel attracted to. Anyway, thank you so much, Hayley, for featuring me here on your channel. And for anyone watching, if you want to learn how to be your best self and improve on the skills that you might have missed growing up, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I make videos every week on those topics. As always, guys, love and peace.
So here's what I'm thinking. I think, and I have a theory that, particularly as I say, as women get older, the friend zone is not quite so much of a negative thing as it maybe was in the past. I think that maybe when you're in your early 20s or mid 20s, that if you're in the friend zone, that's like the kiss of death. It means, I'm sorry, we've hung out a bunch of times, you haven't tried to kiss me, I feel awkward about it now. And I see you just as a friend. And friendship is awesome, but if it's not what you want, that can be really difficult to deal with. I think that usually when a woman meets someone, she's a little bit open-minded as to where that relationship goes. But if your actions are not consistent with date, then she has no reason to see you as anything other than a friend. Now, I think this shifts as women maybe start to look for more serious relationships. So actually the friend zone, if you've been playing the friend zone for a very long game and you're kind of in your 30s and there's a woman that you really like and you've been friends with her a while and she's single, you're single, I actually don't think this is as much of like a kiss of death as it was maybe 10 years ago. Now my theory is that she might be becoming, especially if she's not meeting any guys that she really likes, and by the way, men of the world out there, a huge female dating complaint is simply, I never meet anybody I like. There's no guys I fancy. Don't see anyone I like, which is kind of a silly statement to make. But it does mean that if she's been single for a while, she might be actually starting to look at your relationship in a different way. I think it's possible. So see if you notice a slight shift in her behavior. Does she want to spend more time with you one-on-one? Is she looking to go out with you for dinner or drinks or things that feel slightly more romantic? Are you spending your weekends together and doing stuff like you're a couple? Are you hanging out at her house? Are you like, I don't know, like sleeping next to her in her bed and being the guy that gives her a cuddle? If you're doing any of these things and you're like a little bit more mature, I would say, and you like her and you think you might want something for real with her, this means that actually sexual intimacy can be easier because she knows that basically it's like, because you've done good service as a friend for like however many months or years, she knows that she can trust you and you're the kind of guy that if she opens up to you in all senses, that you're not going to hurt her. And that premise, which doesn't really exist when you're like 20 years old and you're like having fun and you maybe are not thinking about dating seriously, or you haven't had any kind of, dare I say it, like negative experiences yet. Suddenly that all flips around, and by the time a woman becomes more mature, she can start to look out for that guy who she feels really safe with. Now, safe doesn't sound sexy, but trust me, it's like having trust and that emotional connection will make it easier for her to open up. So if you are in this position, what I would say to you is, first of all, you need to prioritize getting more time one-on-one. That is always the first step. One-on-one, also in person. Don't just be a text or social media friend, then you're just a fan. You need to make sure that she's willing and prepared to invest in the relationship with you one-to-one. So message her and say, hey, what's your schedule like this weekend? Let's go do something. Get her to meet you one-to-one. Now, when you meet up with her, don't be like old mates. Actually suggest maybe taking her out somewhere, taking her out for drinks or dinner or, I don't know, theatre or something that feels it should feel like a gear shift from how you've hung out with her in the past. So go for something that's going to create a bit of romance, excitement, anticipation. Then when you see her, if you feel that you're getting those signs of emotional intimacy, like physically she's closer to you, she's touching you maybe on the arm, you're talking really openly, and maybe she even says something which is a very typical woman thing to say, which is like, oh, I never meet anyone nice. You should just touch her on the arm and say, of course you meet people that are nice. Say, I'm nice. And then she's like, yeah, but for dating, and you can say, well, I'm going to be really vulnerable with you now because I trust you. I always thought you were really attractive. I've always seen you as more than a friend, but that friendship was so important to me. I didn't want to step over a line and ruin it because that's how much I care about you. Now, if you say that, woo, that's sexy, it's strong, it's honest. And if she's like, oh, I'm not sure, just, you know, that actually is also, it's saying exactly what you've done, which is actually like, you know what, I actually valued you so much as a person, and I liked the relationship that we had so much. That was the reason that I didn't take a step forward. So it gives a really good justification as to why you've held back for so long. And it also then gives you that platform to create a moment of emotional intensity where you can then take a physical move forward. So do that, because I believe that the friend zone means something slightly different, or can mean something slightly different at different stages of people's lives. And there's no exact age that goes on this. It's about what someone's looking for. So if you are single, she is single, you're both aware that you're looking for the same things, you care about each other, you trust each other, try that strategy of get time one-on-one, make it more like a date, and just say to her that you're going to be honest with her, or say to her that you're going to be vulnerable, which by the way is going to make you seem really attractive as well and seem very self-confident. And then just tell her straight up that the reason that you've always seen her as more than a friend, and the reason you didn't take a step forwards before in the past is because the friendship meant so much to you and you didn't want to ruin anything. But you do find her really attractive, and at that high point of intensity, try and kiss her and then see what happens. And then if you guys get together, you can thank me later. Anyway, so I hope you found this video super helpful. Please subscribe to my channel. If you're a guy, you can also get some more great dating advice from me by following me on Instagram. I'm at Hayley Quinn X, just the one X. I put tons of videos up there and little cute pieces of advice every day. So if you want to hear my opinion, you like it, check that out, and I'll be back again soon with another video.